In the state of Washington, a car accident occurs approximately every 4 minutes. Obviously, that's a lot of car accidents. I want to talk to you about auto accidents today. When you're in an auto accident, the first thing that needs to be sorted out is liability. Basically, whose fault is the accident? Because an accident is not truly an accident, somebody is at fault. In the state of Washington, we are a comparative fault state, meaning one person can be 100% at fault to anywhere to 0% at fault. So you can picture a parking lot collision where both vehicles are backing out. That may be considered 50-50 liability, 50% each. A simple example, let's say you're rear-ended, and that's probably the most common motor vehicle accident. Certainly the following vehicle, the vehicle that was behind you that rear-ended you, they are 100% liable or at fault for the collision. And in the state of Washington, we have our road rules or road safety rules that comes from statutes and case law that help attorneys like myself determine liability, whose fault the collision is. Once liability is sorted out, then let's say you are a victim of a motor vehicle accident. The other person is 100% at fault or at least some percentage of fault. Then you are entitled, the law entitles you to damages. What are your damages from this auto accident? Well, you're entitled to get your reasonable and necessary medical bills paid. That includes past medical bills and future medical bills. You are entitled to wage loss compensation. If you miss time from work and you miss your wages, then they have to pay for those. You are entitled to essential services or household services. Let's say you're injured to the point where you can't cook, clean, do the laundry. There are provisions, the law allows for compensation for that as well. Certainly pain and suffering. A lot of you have heard the term pain and suffering from lawyers, maybe your friends, family, at a jury trial in a court of law. Pain and suffering, both mental and physical pain and suffering, the tortfeasor or the wrongdoer, the other insurance company, has to compensate you for your pain and suffering. Emotional distress, that's also compensatable. The loss of enjoyment of life, depending on your injuries, the amount of pain you're in, any temporary or permanent disabilities, certainly affects the enjoyment of your life. That's compensatable. Inconvenience. Mileage is compensatable for going to your appointments. We calculate those at this office. Your time spent at doctor's offices getting treatment. Those are all considered part of inconvenience on your life. Loss of consortium or loss of companionship is not for the injured person, but let's say a spouse or children who lose, the consortium or the companionship of a parent or a spouse. Now that is a separate claim. It comes from the same insurance claim or policy limits, and we can talk more about that later. But that's also something to consider, the impact your injuries from this auto accident has on your family, your spouse and your children. So all these are compensatable. Certainly I've just touched on those. What I would recommend is certainly instead of trying to list all these on your own and trying to figure it out on the fly and talk to insurance companies who are well versed, and if you don't mention this to them, they're not going to volunteer to pay for these or compensate you for these, is to talk to a experienced personal injury attorney. And at our Martin Law Group, when we send out the settlement demand, of course, we include all these areas to be compensated by the other insurance company. And most importantly, or one of the most important things in an auto accident, whether you handle it on your own, again, I advise you to consult a personal injury attorney, is the deadline or statute of limitations in the state of Washington is 3 years. That means you either have to settle your claim or file a lawsuit within 3 years of the date of your auto accident. Now, once you hire an attorney, that becomes their responsibility. They're responsible for all deadlines, including the 3-year statute of limitations. So leave that to your attorney, and then you concentrate on treatment for your injuries and getting better. Thank you.